Hi, welcome back to DC Vigilante. And because I enjoyed making the last one so much, I thought I'd make this one. And I know you're thinking, oh no, it's not another one, a religion, God, and alien thing again. Well, listen, if you haven't guessed by the title, then just don't watch it. It's not your cup of tea, as I say. It's DC Vigilante. I like to think of it more than just the DC comics. Sometimes it's just a blog, right, about my thoughts and ideas and stuff like that. Whether you're interested or not, it's up to you to view it. And you don't need to unsubscribe or whatnot and stuff. Just wait until one comes round. Maybe you have a topic for yourself that you want to talk about. Let us know in the comments, and I'll talk about it. Right, so I've just finished watching Ancient Aliens, and it refreshed my ideas. It's not ideas that I haven't had before, but it's just made me think about them again. You know, like when you listen to a song or a group and you get right into it again, and you get right into them, and then you listen to them for months on end, and then you move on to something else until you hear that group again, then you get back into it and stuff. So that's roughly about this. So it made me raise a question, you know, has God ever existed for us? And I came up to the idea in my version, no, no. And it's not that it's a bad thing or a good thing, it's just wow sort of thing. And I'll explain to you how I came upon this now, why it's such mind-blowing stuff. So let's go back in time, right? Say to the dinosaurs. And dinosaurs, we know, existed because because we found bones, and some people will say, well, we put them there. Which I kind of disbelieve, because there's no sort of evidence or proof to say why around the world anybody would want to make up a whole sort of history, especially since bones have been discovered at different periods of time. And we know they existed at a certain period of time because scientists and archaeologists and whatnot established a way how to age things, how to roughly know how long something was around, and we had so many different periods from dinosaurs. So, but, right, so they all agreed there were many different stages of dinosaurs in the world. So, God existed, he basically created the world, and on that world, he put these big creatures, and that was it. And then, lo and behold, years later, there was like an ice age that wiped out a lot of things, everything else. Before the ice age, people claimed to think that it was meteorites, comets, dinosaurs, backsides, farting and whatnot. So many reasons why the dinosaurs went extinct, and and they just can't we can't answer it. So then you go to, was one of them like aliens? Could aliens have came down, destroyed the dinosaurs? I thought I'd do a Prometheus thing from like the movie, where you got an alien coming down to Earth, jumping in the water, and then spreading his seed, basically, and seed as in, these different amoeba things that grow up and become different species, or something. Maybe, you know, it's often thought of that maybe this planet wasn't our home. It's not that we've came from nothing, because you talk about the missing link, right? The missing link is that sort of skeleton sort of head that connects, the older species to the new species, because there's so many skeletons in the world, and they discovered these human skulls, and they're big compared to a normal man of today's one, right? So the skull was different, so hence it's the missing link. How can we connect this skull to this one? So there's proof of some sort of manipulation when we talk about evolution came from monkeys to this. Or could it be that somehow or another it's been manipulated in that way, where somebody's came down and messed with the DNA? Again, DNA is just something recently that scientists have found that makes us who we are. And then now we're going about cloning things. You know, we roughly have the technology maybe to use the DNA to construct a life of our own, right? Hence Jurassic Park and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it could have been done that way, you know, and hence why we're here. So of course back then we would have had more like guidance teachers, you know, visitors. And just recently there were findings of a civilization long before we actually thought was our first sort of day here. They've found evidence that the human history actually goes back further. So anyway, so you can imagine that these aliens who that have came down to primitive man or whatnot and started, you know, could have started, you know, trying to shape a culture or shape human beings. I remember the film Quatermass and the Pit, where these aliens sort of used apes as slaves, and they were very demonic in their appearance, hence hell and stuff. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, you've watched too many movies. You've watched too many. It's just the only way I can roughly describe my ideas, because it has been done before. People have probably thought about this before, and so and of course back then at primitive man, they would have thought of aliens as some sort of god, and now if you think about it along those terms, then you start thinking, could God be just bunch of, you know, aliens? I mean, and it's feasibly possible, because most of the time you think to yourself, well, you know, if somebody had came down on a spaceship back then, when there was nothing, you know, there was nothing in the air that could take men flying, you would think of them as gods. And you look back on, and now here's the thing. So you've got these people coming down, trying to maybe shape a society, leaving curious stones around the place, right, that back then was impossible for men to achieve by themselves because of the lack of tools and equipment. So they would have needed some sort of more, you know, advanced technology to achieve it. So then we go on to the different religions around the world, all sort of believing that that these sort of gods have come down, and a lot of the biblical sort of stories and a lot of stories throughout the world have similar theses or similar storylines of what actually happened, what they wanted, and all gods that have been sort of different religions have been drawn differently. Well, who's to say? Again, there's more than, you know, there's only one type of alien out there. Right? I like to think maybe though, and so they're the ones that shaped the world. Now, if you think about it, in our history, in our past, especially in the Bible and stuff, God's been a bit of a dickus, right? Because if say God was real, and He gets His creations right. Now, the modern way of thinking of God is that He wants us to worship Him, right? He wants us to acknowledge His existence and worship Him, get down on His knees. But overall idea of God was like He's all good, right? When it comes to being good, He is like the symbol. He is the symbol of everything great and good. So, and He's unselfish and everything else. And pride is and envy is like evil and stuff like that. So then you think to yourself, well, that's actually contradicting. If He wants us to worship Him and thank Him for everything, then that's a wee bit contradicting, is it? Because that's not the good God that our ideas allow us to think about. And not only that, in the stories, you find out that these prophets and or these tellings are so out of place for God, because if you go back to the Incas where they had human sacrifices and all that sort of stuff, and you go back in time and you think, well, if that God is the same God that exists today, surely His teachings would have been better. Surely something like the Bible, where Moses goes up a hill, gets a couple of tablets of drugs or whatnot, comes down here and starts seeing people having a party, and say that's not God's way. I've got a list of demands. I've got these 10 commandments here, and that we've all to follow. That to me sounds like a cult leader who has went up a mountain, talked to a burning bush, which is marijuana, and came down with some orders. So this is like one guy's vision. Or it could be that the guy went up, spoke to a couple of aliens on top of a mountain, came down and says, right, this is what he wants us to do. Now, because we are sort of creations from, say, aliens, then they want to make sure that the subjects do the tests correctly. So, hence, do not sleep with another man, and do not kill thy neighbour. And you go, well, God's meant to be all good, right? He's all this and that, and He's written these laws, which now, thanks to science, right, we have grown better in the understanding of how the human body works, and whatever God laid down in His commandments is all wrong, right? We're now living in a society where gay people, transgender people, and whatnot, right? And they're all welcome. We've all welcomed them in their hearts. We're getting the churches to change their opinion and everything else because it doesn't follow our good nature. And that brings me on to the next point: is could we exist in a society without religion? Well, going back to the day when all these religions started, right? Now, and I'm talking about every religion. I'm talking about Muhammad. I'm talking about Jesus. I'm talking about all Hindu, Indian, you name it, God, right? And so there are all sort of guidelines, so to speak, that was brought up. But if you take religion out of the picture, could we still be good? Yeah. And the reason, because it would have taken maybe a wee bit longer, but thanks to science, thanks to us always, even before religion came into into the world, that we were always looking to the stars. We were always looking upwards, maybe for our alien brothers, and we were always making societies that we deemed to be right to live in. Right, we were all living in wee groups, and each group had a custom. You go to places where like Indians and stuff like that, or places that are cut off from societies in the modern world, and they've created a society for themselves. They've created their religion unlike any of the popular ones, and they've created it themselves, and so they know what's good and bad. And thanks to science just now, we've welcomed those people that the Bible have put in to say that they're wrong, and again that's contradicting to what God was meant to be, all loving. For was it not him that created everything? And if he created, and because of science, right, and the way we can look at ourselves and our bodies and the way we're made, well, would it not have been in his best interest to make people that are different, or sexual appetites, because he created the world, he created, surely he would have made sure that there was no machines breaking down, because that's all we are really, is we machines. We're bodies, we're minds and souls and whatnot, and in our heads, using these as sort of transport devices. And sometimes the transport devices makes us think and do things that are not real, I mean, now you said I've said souls, so that means I must believe it. Well, listen, who knows? I'm not here with the answers. All I'm stating is that I really don't believe. Now we talk about gods, right? You look at DC Comics, and Darkseid, and High Father, and Zeus, Hercules, and all that sort of stuff, and they're all so-called gods, right? But they're not the god, right? They're not in today's society, right? Because how does that exist? Because a lot of societies there's actually more than one god. But that also raises the question: what came first, the chicken or the egg? So it's to think, if somebody was that created us, surely they would have came down. If we were like the only soul people on the planet and we've lost our ways, surely we would have paid a visit if he was that interested. But the one thing that we do seem to get visits from is so-called alien abductions, probably testing on a thing. I know I'm flying off in tangents because I'm just talking about the next thing that comes to my mind. So it's, and again, let's use Superman for an example. If Superman was to exist and he came down, we would think of him as God because he's got all these abilities to fly and everything else. And as I say, Star Trek spaceship lands on Earth, people start worshipping that. Okay, so as I say, so then you can look at angels and you can look at gods as in alien visitors. The only reason why some are drawn with wings, or some were drawn, or any way of any gods have drawn, because it's meant to explain, like any artist, explain this being here is different from us because he has the power of flight, so I'll give him wings. But then again, there's stories of angels with no wings, So it just, for me, is a fascinating subject that's sitting here thinking about it. What happens when we die? Do we go to heaven? Do we go to hell? Well, again, there's some people believe that the spirit is some sort of what makes, and spirit is the easiest word to use, or soul is the easiest word to describe what makes us us. Right? It's got nothing to do with the religious aspects. I'm just calling it that way because we're all different, and I want to take the essence of what we all are. So who knows what happens to that stuff? Maybe it follows some cosmic stream around the universe, and it goes on and on. But as far as guiding us here, maybe, as I say, these aliens have came here, created us, because they're in the search for the meaning of life as well. And in order to get the meaning of life, they create life. And maybe it's these people that want to be worshipped. Or maybe they want, if you have a pet, if you have an animal and whatnot, you want to find out if, how well they've done. And you check on in time and time. And maybe when they get to a stage like any father and son or something like that, you want to ask, about them. What do you think? And by creating life and studying life is like any science in the lab with their animals and whatnot, and finding out answers to questions that they can't do themselves. What happens if we grow up in a world that is so alien to them, and what would happen to us if we were put in these circumstances? Now, again, going back to, say, the biblical books, where you have tidal waves, you have mass destruction, you have God asking people, brothers, to fight brothers, or fathers to kill their sons. And does that sound like God to you? I mean, we'll always ask stuff about, but it's more likely that some alien species, alien or somebody like that, or, they would have done that in order to test, how their subjects are doing. Would that person be willing to kill? And that's a study in itself. And it sort of explains the evolution. Some people say that, we're totally evolving all the time because we came from this. Well, if we're evolving, then why have we not evolved anymore? Well, maybe not in a physical appearance, but our minds are definitely evolving in the way we approach everybody else. Why they've not came back down to check on us? Well, put it this way, if we were told, if aliens came down, think about the mass hysteria. Think about, if we suddenly were told that God has never existed for us and it's always been them. Wow, what a change. So for me, religion is our worst enemy. Religion has caused people going to war in order to get other people to think along the lines of their own religion. Now, this is something that the aliens buggered up. If it was the same tribe of aliens that came down, why not somehow try to tell the same story? But again, mind what I said earlier, that a lot of these stories are similar, but it's different adaptations, it's different interpretations of these visitors, of these aliens that have came down to us. And living in a world without God or Jesus, of course, that or any sort of biblical belief system, it would drive the world nuts because they feel that they have to believe in something. But I, for one, who's an atheist, I don't believe, right? It just takes an interest and stuff like that. I'm not going crazy, right? I'm just trying to get through my life from start to finish and be a decent guy about it. And those people that feel the need, now if you look at the world today, there's less and less people going to church. There is less and less people going to church because science and technology and everything else is getting us um, to it's getting us to explain things about not just the cosmos or the way that. I mean, right now everybody's worried about the state of the world, but back thousands of years ago we wouldn't worry about the state of the world. But because we know more about the climate and everything else, that's become our new religion because we know more. And again, it goes back to Star Trek, where we can get to a stage where religion is put on the back burner, and as a human species we can come together and work together and be like these aliens, so-called aliens, whatever, and go out and find these answers on a more bigger scale. Let's, if religion never came onto it, I believe we could have, maybe the world could have bonded together. If there was no religion on the planet, I believe we could have bonded together a lot quicker and turned our attention to science and turned our attention to, getting out there and finding the reason why. I mean, you look at dogs, cats, and whatnot, right? If they were ever far from home, they would leave wherever they were and try to follow and get answers. Of cat animals around the world, do you think they have religion? No, what they do is they just enjoy the life that they have just now. They don't turn their attention to biblical senses or anything like that. They just want to live and get through the day and be good. Sharks, crocodiles, and whatnot, they only kill because they need to survive. That's what their program does. That's what they're made to do, designed to do. They eat what they're designed to eat. And believe it or not, we may have been designed to think, to turn our heads, to question. That's what we have been. But we've really not been programmed that much to follow blindly into a faith or somebody else's teachings. We don't need that. What we need is all of us to come together and put our religion and God things to the side. And without religion, we could have made a much better place, because deep down in us, we know what's right and what's wrong. We know what love is. We know what respect is. We didn't need religion to teach us that, and I never got that from a book. I never got that from Sunday school. I got that because it's the right thing to do. So, yeah. So hopefully I've given you something to think about. But it's just an eye opener. Just imagine, there's that he's this God person has never ever turned his face towards us, because again, who created him? Who created this vast galaxy and everything else? Maybe our comprehension and the way the universe works is far beyond what we can ever think of. The person or creature or whatever that started all this has got no time to think about us, because there's billions, maybe there's billions of, and our God, so to speak, is nothing but a God is just to us somebody that has just created us, maybe in a test lab. But then who created them? Who created that and that? Oh, it's just mine. But this is something we've got to get our heads around and not worry about it. Don't worry about death or anything like that. Think of it as your next step in an adventure. And just live your life and be good and be, and enjoy the time that you have. And stop, I turn on the news and listen to all the politic rubbish and all this sort of stuff, and I'm remembering friends that I've known that have died too young, too quickly. I mean, there's another existence. If God was so great, why did he give kids cancer? Why did he allow disability if he was all caring, all good? And you can all say, oh, it's to teach us. It's to teach us something outside the box. No, it's just because science basically says this is a gene, this is deformity, and scientists and doctors today are working on how to fix these problems. We're doing it. No, nothing to do with God. But we as a species, who put here, we're trying to fix the problems, not the guy or the girl upstairs. We're on this by ourselves. We're on this on our own. But a lot of people out there just don't get that, and are too scared to. But what I want you to do is have encouragement in yourself. You are strong people out there, and it's within you to stand up, shake your brother, sister by the hand, and say, we can do this without his or their help. We here just now, let's embrace the time we have. Guy Fawkes, fireworks. You go every year, put a guy on the fire, dummy, to celebrate a guy that tried to blow up the Houses of Parliament. Sick, sad, pathetic, daft. Anyway, this is DC Vigilante. Thanks for watching. This has been my truth. Right.